Recognizing where bats are roosting in a structure is the important first step towards reducing bat conflicts with transportation structures. Roosting is the most common need in a bat's life history that has a direct relationship with transportation structures. Roosts provide essential functions such as energy conservation, suitable conditions for social interactions and mating opportunities, shelter from weather, protection against temperature extremes, and safety from predators and disturbance. The why, how, and when bats use roadway features differ between structure type, location, and bat species. The purpose of this video is to provide how-to guidance on performing a bat roost inspection within bridges and culverts. If you have questions on coordination and consultation with regulatory agencies, please contact your district's environmental management or permitting office. Observations and research on bridges indicates bats are more likely to use bridge structures for roosting habitat when they are made of concrete and provide vertical crevices. The likelihood increases when these structures are located near or on river corridors, waterways, and/or in proximity to woodlands.
The vertical concrete surfaces located between the bridge beams provide the ideal protection from wind, especially when they are heated by the sun. That, combined with bat distribution data, can indicate the probability of identifying a bat roost on a project. Bats don't typically use bridges with flat-bottom surfaces that lack interbeam spaces.
Characteristics that may increase the likelihood of bat roosts in bridges include bridge structures made of concrete and concrete beams, and continuous steel girders that facilitate gaps, joints, drainage holes such as weep holes, scuppers and downspouts, crevices, and hollows. Vertical crevices. Superstructure height a minimum of 3 feet above ground. Increase superstructure depth for wind and predator protection, insulation from weather and temperatures, and increased area for crevices, gaps, and hollows. Structures located in proximity to wetlands or woodlands which provide feeding and drinking opportunities. Structures sealed at the top to provide protection from the weather. Structural components having full sun exposure. When determining bat presence on bridges, it is important to check the entire structure, especially in areas with smaller crevices. On bridges, bats will typically roost in narrow vertical gaps and joints throughout the structure. Bats can sometimes be difficult or impossible to detect directly, and therefore it is important to look for other signs of presence. For more information on specific roost locations within various bridge types, see Section 4, Bat Roost Identification within FDOT's Bats in Transportation Structures Handbook, located on FDOT's Office of Environmental Management website. Culverts can be single-span or multiple-span and come in a variety of types, including box, pipe, and arch. Characteristics that increase the likelihood of culvert use include structures deep enough to provide protection from wind and predators, insulation from weather and temperatures, and features that provide crevices and gaps. In addition, proximity to wetlands or woodlands, which provide opportunities for feeding and drinking. Bridges and culverts can also provide roosting habitat. These can include drainage pipes and abandoned utility piping attached to structures. Generally, bats can squeeze into openings as small as your thumb. Roost inspections typically occur during a transportation project's environmental planning phase, design phase, or just prior to maintenance activities depending on the work proposed. Before conducting an inspection, first evaluate the type of structure involved. If working on a bridge, first identify the structure number. Structure numbers can be found facing the travel lanes of the bridge traffic barriers. Some culverts have structure numbers which are located on the top of the head wall and also on the right side. However, not all culverts have numbers. Structure numbers can be searched through the Federal Highway Administration's National Bridge Inventory website, which provides information such as structure materials, dimensions, year built, owner, and general status. In addition, FDOT's Structure Design Office may be able to provide the latest bridge engineering inspection report and inventory pictures, which may identify areas of interest such as crevices, large cracks, voids, girders, hinges, expansion joints, and abutments. Note that district bridge inspectors may sometimes include notes on bats in their bridge engineering inspection reports. For questions on specific drainage structures, contact the district drainage office. With the structure details, plans, drainage reports, and any relevant bridge engineering inspection reports in hand, consider the following. Are there features of the structure that provide suitable habitat for roosts, such as gaps, joints, crevices, hollows, and voids? Are there special equipment needs or personal protective equipment required to conduct the inspection? How many people would be required to conduct the inspection safely? Are there any access issues that require additional considerations, such as over, under, or on a railway, waterway, channel, highway, or forested area? Will the inspection occur within the right-of-way of another entity besides FDOT? Will permissions be required? In addition to these considerations, it is helpful to review the bat species regional range maps and species roosting preferences identified in FDOT's Bats in Transportation Structures Guidance on Bat Exclusion Practices, located on FDOT's Office of Environmental Management website. Questions to consider include: which bat species have the potential to occur within the project area? Is there potential for a federally listed or candidate species to be located within the project area? For the species identified as potentially occurring within the project area, what roosting habitat do they prefer? Does the transportation structure support this type of roosting? When conducting a roosting inspection, it is necessary to have the right tools. These include flashlight or headlamp, red light preferred to minimize disturbance, handheld mirror or extendable rod for looking into cracks, binoculars, digital camera or phone camera, writing utensil, and paper for sketching out the areas where bat indicators have been identified. Personal protective equipment, first aid kit. A ladder may be necessary depending on the structure, and kayak or canoe if structure is over water. The FDOT Bat Roost Inspection Form is a best practice for documenting inspections. It provides a breakdown of the items to consider when conducting an inspection of structures for bats. The FDOT office completing this form can vary in accordance with the normal function of each district and based on activity for which the inspection is being conducted. For large or complex projects, this form can be incorporated into a project-specific bat exclusion management plan. Bat inspections should be conducted during the planning phase for large capacity projects and during design for minor projects. For maintenance activities, enough time must be scheduled to safely exclude bats in advance of work, and no work shall occur during the maternity season. Professional judgment is required as project specifics vary. Although the most effective season to conduct an inspection is during the summer months when bats are most active, field inspection can be conducted year-round. Inspections during the maternity season should be conducted with care, especially in confined spaces like culverts. If bats begin to take wing, reduce noise and leave the structure. Inspections are driven by the project schedule and professional judgment is required on timing. Inspections conducted during the maternity season or during cool temperatures should be conducted in a manner that minimizes disturbance. Preliminary indicators for determining presence of bats include staining. Bat body oil and urine stains can look like long vertical lengths of browning. Stains can vary in size and may appear wet and are usually found in dark places. Look for dark stains located on concrete support beams and walls immediately below the ceilings of bridges and beneath joints. In culverts, brown patches may occur on the roof or upper wall. Guano. Bat droppings, also called guano, are small brown or black pellets. Older droppings may be gray in color. Bat droppings are dry and flaky. These droppings accumulate on the ground, floor of a covered bridge, or on structural components below roofs. Support beams and walls may collect guano, which is often spotted near or below vertical staining streaks. If guano is identified, take notes of its locations. Check for guano under roosting spots such as cracks, hollows, and expansion joints. Scattered pellets indicate intermittent bat use, whereas large guano areas indicate regular use. Insect remains. Some bat species bring their insects back to their roost to eat. Pieces of insects, such as wings and legs, can be found scattered below the roost. In addition, desiccated bat carcasses and bat skulls are also commonly found. Smell. Bat roost can produce a strong ammonia smell. The larger the colony, the stronger the smell becomes. Visual. Depending on the temperature, bats may be found roosting low, high, clustered, spread out, or solitarily. If bats are able to be seen, try to obtain a quick estimate of their number and location. If the number of bats is large, make a partial count of a small area in the cluster and use that number to extrapolate the size for the entire cluster. For example, about 2,000 Mitos bats can fit in a square meter. Photos may aid in estimating roost size. An estimate of roost size is not a requirement. However, it can be helpful to understand the level of potential impact. Noise. Listen for vocalizations of bats, such as high-pitched squeaking or chirping. Take note of locations from where these vocalizations emanate. Unlike birds, these high-pitched noises will come from the darker areas of the structure. During cold weather events, when bats enter torpor, bats may not make any noises. In addition, it can be difficult to hear bats over a busy highway. Note that it is more common to see indicators of presence, such as staining or droppings, than to see bats. Therefore, each of these indicators should be considered on its own merits, and the presence of even one of these on a structure is enough documentation to confirm bat usage. Species identification is not required to presume occupancy by bats. It is important to recognize that working with wildlife in close proximity to active transportation facilities requires special safety considerations. Inspecting the varied transportation structures presents unique personnel safety concerns such as high elevations and fall protection. traffic control, enclosed and confined spaces, remote locations, wildlife, and sites where people may be unwelcoming. Transportation structures may traverse or parallel watercourses, roads, highways, railroad lines, and forests, which increase the hazard potential. All inspections and work activities should commence by first evaluating the safety parameters of the structure and the surrounding site, and then preparing accordingly. If a structure or site appears unsafe, pause and plan before proceeding. In addition to the typical equipment requirement for working on an FDOT project, it is a good idea to have a mask, safety glasses, and rubber gloves. Avoid entering enclosed and unventilated areas containing significant amounts of bat guano. Do not touch or pick up live, injured, or sick bats. Bats can and do bite in self-defense. Should you be bitten by a bat, contact your county health department immediately. For more information about bat-related health concerns, contact the county health department, the Florida Department of Health, or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. If a bat is identified as behaving unusually or injured, do not handle it. The best strategy is to leave the bat alone, and it will usually fly away the upcoming evening. If the situation clearly shows the bat is injured, you may call FWC's Wildlife Alert Hotline at 1-888-404-3922 to speak directly to an FWC representative. In addition, wildlife rehabilitation contacts specifically for bats are provided by the Florida Bat Conservancy. This concludes our video on the bat roost inspection process in support of transportation projects in Florida. Major deviations of this guidance should be vetted with your district's Environmental Management Office. Links to additional videos in the series Bats in Transportation Structures can be found by visiting FDOT's Office of Environmental Management website at www.fdot.gov/environment. Thank you for watching.